welcome. I just was just listening to a video. I've been in a very weird state of going towards creating and thinking and reading and then doing nothing and kind of repeating that. Um, and I find myself waiting, and I don't like that. So I wanted to just get on here and create. But I was watching a video, and it struck a thought, and I was like, well, I can sit here and think, or I can talk about it, or I can write about it, but I want to talk about it. It was approaching um, in this world being sober. And I noticed such a contradiction in this argument. Always in this argument, I notice there's certain like drugs that don't get recognized as drugs that we're all high on, or most of us are high on. Sugar, caffeine. You could argue red meat, meat in general. The screen, language, reason, right? Like you can addict to almost anything. Drugs are very altering of the real. Drugs sort of alter the perception of the reality, and the normal sober state of reality is dictated by these forms of reason and meaning that are very useful tools if used with critical thinking. But I think we've gotten to a point where these things are becoming very addictive, drug-like. Here I am smoking some weed. My argument is that certain drugs, but drugs in general create a sort of multiple layers on top of reality itself. And drugs have this sort of ability to sort of combat the screen, or they have the ability to combat narrative in a way. You'll hear someone talk or type out something or talk out something, and you'll immediately, or at least I have this recognition. I have this recognition that they've never listened to Marshall McLuhan. I think all people should listen to him amongst our digital age. I think a lot of people are so caught up in language and forming this thing to sort of prove to everyone that not that they're right, but that they're here on the track, trying to create a sort of energy within themselves to literally get invited to a tribe in a way. But I've also had this sort of thought that kind of extends from Marshall McLuhan, where in this day and age with screens and instantaneous communication, the world has sort of become a more tribal, primitive, or tribal or primal age. Everyone is hunting. There's no, I don't know how to say it necessarily, but everyone's hunting for something. And I think it's form or reason or meaning, right? And I think if you're a very, I wouldn't say I'm a drug oriented person. I think we all are drug oriented people, but drugs are not like the forefront of my reasoning, um, or arguments. Drugs and psychedelics and altered states are like a lens, um, to put on, to see through, just as you are, in a way. Imagine if someone could put on your glasses. They would just be you, right? In a way. They would see it in your way. I noticed that there's not enough play on words. A lot of these people who are speaking on topics speak so matter of fact in the context of like science and our phonetic alphabet. But there's been plenty of times, countless times, where I've experienced a sort of timeless, expressionless, formationless moment in which synchronicity and intention from all participants in this moment or these moments correlate in some grand scheme of my own mind's design, and it's quite interesting to just observe. I think a lot of people can get caught up in these observations as, especially being born as a Westerner, forced upon the print, the radio, TV, movies, and all these things. The Westerner wakes into the the psychedelic space and meets these formless entities and these formless thoughts and beings of energy and light and color. And they immediately, obviously, I'm a Westerner. I've had to go through this thought myself. But you almost become so infatuated or fixated on this idea of a form or reason that it becomes like an itch you can't scratch, where you'll have moments of synchronicity and correlation fly through your day, and it'll pull you towards some sort of belief or ideology, and it'll be fun to entertain it and take it really serious for however long, and then something will completely contradict that, and your bubble will get burst, and there will be a very honestly a depressed period of like, what, like, what, no, like, this is, you know what I mean? And that's what I think a lot of us are in right now. I wouldn't say I'm in that state personally. I think I'm on the state of trying to um, trying to experiment a little more in multiple different ways. I think a lot of people think I take drugs all the time. The only drug I take all the time is weed. I think if you're taking psychedelics all the time, you're, for one, not even grasping what's being shown to you on these things. But I also think you're disrespecting yourself in a way. Drugs or psychedelics and altered states, they're the fuel for our narratives. And as the narrative dissolves and changes into something new, people are seeking these forms of narration and stories and sense in places, in all places. And I think that's where you can really draw the line of something that's being sought, something that's being created. I think I like what I just said. It's like I said, the key to these are to never to make full sense, to never be 100% right, to never fact check myself in the middle of my creation. I'm simply using my words as something, as like a paintbrush or a pen. We don't do that enough. Comments alone, like typing alone, doesn't allow us to do that. Because it's hard to talk about something in an abstract form with people who are so embedded in the content of the culture, of the cultures, of all cultures. In the context of abstract form takes the context of being like in an abstract perception. And if we want to go down that rabbit hole of what's abstract, what's not, and I'd say simply formless behavior, a place between formless and form, as Ram Dass would say.